Hello everyone, welcome back to Film and Flash, and today we're reviewing the Minolta QTSI Maxxum. QT stands for QuickTime, and that camera is very quick. Okay, well, it would be if it would focus. There we go. Anyway, it is made of a lightweight polycarbonate plastic. It was made from 1999 to 2002, obviously made by Minolta. It is a fully automatic camera, which is automatic focus, exposure, shutter speed, and aperture. You can toggle your flash on and off, and you can also switch to a red light setting, and you can also turn it off completely, or you can put it to auto mode, which will only deploy the flash in situations where its built-in metering system, through the lens obviously, believes it is necessary. So obviously this little red dot right here, so you can put your lenses on. There is one on the lens and one on the camera body itself. I found that they're very easy to deploy and put on and off on this camera. A lot of people recommend not leaving lenses on while you're in transport. I believe if you have a bag, you should be fine. Uh, I don't really care so much, especially for a cheaper camera like this. The only manual thing you can do is if you press this button in down here, uh, that will allow you to use manual focus lenses. To cycle through your various modes, which you have 6 of them, technically 5, you will press this button right here. Portrait mode, landscape mode, close-up mode, sport mode, and night portrait mode. Obviously, portrait modes is I'm taking close-up pictures of people. Landscape modes for focusing on wide landscapes. So what that does is that tells the autofocus system not to try and pinpoint its focus and more or less take in the broad picture, which is great for low light photography, I've found. This camera does kind of struggle in focusing in low light conditions, depending on what you're shooting. If you're doing low light portraits, it does seem to do a pretty good job for that. Obviously, your close-up lens is pretty capable. It basically tells the autofocus system that it's looking for something that is nearby, like it's supposed to focus on the thing right in front of it. This is sport mode. Obviously, it tells your shutter speed to go as high as it should. Basically, it's designed. It just raises the shutter speed. It just tells the camera you're taking pictures of fast-moving objects. Hot shoe for external flash units or exposure meters or whatever you want to put on there. The built-in flash I found is pretty decent actually. I like it, but it's nothing special. It's no better than your phone flash. Okay, so 1999 to 2002 is when this camera was produced. Don't know if I said that. It is an SLR, which means there is a little mirror inside that lets you see 90 to 95% of what the camera sees. Basically, what you see in the viewfinder is 90 to 95% of the photo, which is a lot for an SLR, because SLRs usually have to crop what you're seeing. And you actually can see this if you look through the lens, which is going to sound crazy, which I'm about to show you right now. So if you look through the lens, it's kind of hard to see, especially out this lens because it has one of those real closed apertures. You can't see it on this one, but you can on some cameras. You can actually see through the viewfinder and you can see it's cropped. So, where would I like to continue off this? It's a beginner camera, very limited manual controls. I will tell you my experience in shooting it. I really like it. Has a few shortcomings here and there. It does automatically advance, rewind, and load the film for you. You just open the back, stick your roll in, put it over there to the little red dot, close it up, and it will load the film automatically for you. It will read the little DX code on your film, which I will show you what a DX code looks like right now. So most rolls of film will have what is called a DX code, which is this right here. And your camera will read that, and that will relay what ISO it is shooting at. See your DX code. This might actually be your DX code right here. It does say DX right there. I'm not, quite frankly, I'm not really sure what your DX code is, but it reads it and it's on the film, and that tells the camera what ISO. It will go from 25 to 5000 ISO, which is what it's capable of reading from. So essentially, you can use it for any film you'd ever want to shoot in it. I have found that it is very reliable. I've had no issues with the camera as far as its shutter mechanism goes. It is relatively fast autofocus, and I would say, to give it a compliment, for its time, it's incredibly fast. Trying to figure out where I can continue with that. Does struggle a little bit if you're not focusing on specific things. Like if you're focusing on a very small object, it is going to struggle focusing on that, especially if you're doing like something like that doesn't have a bunch of contrast. Like if you're taking a picture of a fly on a wall, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be able to do that. So it's not a very precise autofocus, but it is good. It does have through the lens 6-point metering, so it does take in the whole scene. And from what I've heard, and obviously those who are familiar with Minolta's cameras, it is a very effective metering system. It's actually patented, or it was. I don't know if it still is. Sony bought out Minolta in the early 2000s, but it doesn't have a ton of shortcomings. Besides the autofocus system sometimes being a little iffy here and there, when using telephoto lenses with higher millimeter lenses, like 200 and above, I have found that it tends to kind of go back and forth and struggle to find a specific thing to focus on. Like at one point, I was focusing for up to 5 seconds before it finally found the subject. I only had that problem happen once or twice, and I found that it's not as big of a deal. But generally speaking, I would say that this camera can take photos about as good as a human can. Some issues with the autofocus system are, obviously, if you are someone who likes creative contrast, where you want to take a picture of a scene and say you want to focus on a blade of grass, or you want to kind of half focus where the grass is a little bit present, but you're still seeing the whole background scene. This camera is not going to do that. It is not designed for that, which is an issue for obviously people who want more creative control of their cameras. I would say, generally speaking, I really like this camera. It's just, it's not. If its autofocus system was a little bit better, I'd be happy. It's not fast enough for sport photography, in my opinion, but it is fast enough for almost any other type of photography. Maybe not wildlife photography if it's like birds or something, but it is like a decent autofocus, if you ask me. And obviously, it's a cheap beginner camera, so you cannot expect perfect autofocus, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Where do we continue off from that? It does take Minolta A-mount lenses, so it can also use it can use all Minolta autofocus lenses and Minolta G lenses, obviously. It can take third-party A-mount lenses from like Sigma, Tamron, or Takina, which lenses is the primary complaint. The included lenses on these cameras are horrible, and you're going to get grainy photos. Buy an aftermarket lens. It's not so much the camera you're using that matters, but the lens, which is true for film photography as a whole. Generally speaking, what matters most is your lens. And that even applies to digital photography. Just buy a good lens and you're perfect for this camera. Now I'm going to get to 2 rolls of film that I shot on developed. And we're going to see, and I will post the pictures about it and tell you guys my general opinions on the pictures and how it's done. If those pictures come out to my liking, and if they come out the way I intended them for the come out and how the camera should have made them come out, I would be 100% confident in saying this is the only camera you'd ever really need, as long as you're comfortable with not having much control over your camera as far as, manual focus, aperture, exposure goes. If you want a good hybrid, you could obviously go into like the Canon AE1. A little bit more expensive, a lot more expensive. This is about a $20 camera with the lens. I didn't really go over the specs too much. So it is motorized film advance, motorized film rewind. You basically do nothing, honestly. You just focus it and take the photo, and you have your little bit of settings there, which honestly most people probably like. Which honestly I can't lie, I do like it because I've shot on manual film cameras, and it is kind of a headache. It's really nice to have a camera where you can just point it and shoot, and you get pretty good results. And you can just click a button, pull the lens off, put another lens on, and it'll read it and go to work. It does take CR2 batteries, takes 2 of them. They are commonly available in major retail stores, which is a big plus. A lot of cameras take proprietary batteries, which are hard to come by. This camera, you can find the batteries in major retailers like Walmart, which I did buy the batteries. They are kind of expensive, $16 for 2 batteries, but they do last you a long time. Overall, this camera does weigh less than a pound for just the body, which is very good. There is not a whole lot more to say about the camera. If you look inside the lens, which you're not going to be able to see anything, obviously, there's a little green dot, which will let you know it'll flash green if it's not focused, and it will stay solid green if it's focused. It also has a little red thing in there, which tells you if the flash is on or off. And then the other camera I'm about to show you actually is extremely similar to this camera. Obviously, your on and off switch is right there. So the camera I'm about to show you is the Minolta 350 SI. So it was released a little bit before the QTSI. They're both part of the affordable autofocus series. They are very similar, essentially the exact same camera. Obviously, the controls are a little bit different place, but it is almost exactly the same thing. The QTSI was seen as a more refined version. Does not have a pop-up flash. It has a flash right here, which does make the camera just a little bit bulky on top. But when comparing the two, you can see that there is a difference in size and weight for sure. This camera is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit thicker plastic. Takes a different kind of battery, which is not as readily available. That little flash right there, it'll flash on and off when it's in dark environments to help get it better metering and help the camera focus better, which is very cool. That camera doesn't do it, unfortunately. It does have a hot shoe. This review isn't about this. I'm actually going to make a separate video about this camera, which you're going to think is kind of crazy because they're almost the exact same camera. But, you know, anything for views, am I right? It is a date camera, but it takes a separate battery for that, which I don't have. So it will actually flash the date onto the exposure. Overall, they're both pretty cool cameras. There's not a whole lot more to say about it. I try to keep my videos short and sweet. I'm trying to think if there's anything I left out. Oh, yeah, they both have tripod mounts. You don't really need to use a tripod unless it's like something you need to really be still for because it's so light. The other camera I'd recommend a tripod for if you're going to be shooting. I mean, it's all about what you're using, you know. I can't recommend something for sure if I don't know what you're going to use it for. I would say for beginners or people who are looking to document events or do documentation, or you're going on vacation, if you're someone who genuinely just wants to film aesthetic without the film price tag, you should go with this camera for sure. If you're a professional with the right lens, I think you might actually get to use a lot of benefits of this camera and enjoy a lot of benefits of this camera. If you are basically anyone other than a professional, this camera is perfect for you. unless you're someone who's very creative and needs to have full control over your camera. Then you'd want a auto manual hybrid, which are very common. I mean, Nikon and Canon both make, even Minolta make cameras which allow you to have full manual control as well as more advanced auto modes than this, you know. So, you know, that being said, Minolta is definitely more affordable, but you know, you get what you pay for. I do think Minolta's are great cameras though, and I will ride them all day with a smile on my face. So, one other thing I like, which is more about Minolta lenses, is they all have, at least a large part, their autofocus lenses, all have the ability to swap between millimeter lenses, like how many millimeters the lens is, which basically allows you to crop the photo. And I love that. I found that I am really liking it and I use it all the time. Definitely a positive. That's a W for Minolta. Generally, using it for shooting all day, I have found that the camera's very light, doesn't weigh me down. I can move around with it. I can secure a good grip on it. It's comfortable to hold. I don't feel like it's, you know, hard to hold at all. I feel like it's comfortable. I feel like it just feels natural in the hand. It's discreet. It's not very flashy. I found that people are not staring at me with the camera in my hand. I found that it's pretty fast. I can usually get a photo taken in about a second and a half, and the autofocus system takes about the same, usually less than a second, at most 5 seconds, but that's rare. It is probably my favorite film camera I've shot on, unfortunately. I really like how it's just a really good camera. Like, I mean, it's obviously not great, like, if you're shooting in rain or if you need something that's heavy duty. I would say this camera would last you a really long time, though. It's very reliable. Yeah. Well, there's not too much more to say about it. Thank you guys for watching. Film and flash out. Well, actually, no, unfortunately. You can buy this camera for about $20 on eBay. With the lens included, probably gonna be a little bit more. Definitely worth it in my opinion. I would buy this camera, but not necessarily if you're gonna do film photography as a hobby and you're gonna do it a lot. I would definitely get a camera that has manual automatic hybrid. But if you're someone who doesn't really care and you don't want to be creative, go with this camera. That's basically all there is to say. Thank you guys for watching, and film flash out.